Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on the Give Today podcast. As usual, I'm here, Bryony, and I'm joined by my co-host, wonderful partner.
Yeah, me, John James. Hello there.
Today we are joined by the wonderful Abby and Judy at Lifeshare. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, to people out there who don't know anything about Lifeshare or what you guys do, if you could just do a little sort of introduction, your roles within the charity and what the charity does.
Yes, certainly. Well, my name is Judy Vickers and I'm Operations Manager for Lifeshare. Lifeshare is the Manchester's oldest homeless charity. It was founded in 1984. Charitable status came for us in 1989, and back in the days then we were predominantly a 7-day-a-week, van style, going out in the mornings with bacon sandwiches, out in the evening with hot meals.
Mm-hmm.
Then, we thought, well, people need more than just feeding on the streets, and, we need to get our provision indoors. We need to do more, give people more dignity. So we opened the weekend breakfast project down at the Charter Street Ragged School Mission. Mm-hmm. Saturdays and Sundays, and then Monday to Friday we were still out with the bands and things. We then at the beginning of the end of the 80s, the issue was around at Christmas, even the Christmas, Christian organisations closed the doors. So Lifeshare decided we'd open our doors from the 23rd of December right through to the 29th of December. 3 meals a day, doctors, nurses, podiatrists, hairdressers, entertainment, all run by volunteers. We have doggy wellbeing now.
Fantastic.
Last year was our 33rd Christmas. It was a little bit different over COVID, but COVID did not stop Lifeshare delivering Christmas. So we still delivered our Christmas project from the 23rd to the 29th. Our other parts we developed through the 90s. We brought the big issue up north. We were the first organisations to have needle exchanges on our vans. We helped found the Booze Centre, Manchester's Action on Street Health, Coffee for Craig, reach out in the community. A lot of other charities' journeys will have had some point with Lifeshare. We had the first bond scheme in Manchester in the 90s, and then late 90s, early 2000s, our outreach teams were out and about in the city and identified a very small pocket of young men that were selling sex in the city. It wasn't about sexuality, it was about survival sex. So we went to Comic Relief, and the MSWAT project was born. MSWAT was the Male Sex Workers Outreach Project, and that's where my journey started with Lifeshare, around about 2002, 2003. I was working at Lifeline, seconded over to come and see if it was true about this client group that we found. Now I'll try and which one too long this, but yes, basically it was true. The MSWAT project got the male voice onto the Sex Workers Forum, onto health promotion needs, the councilised. When about 2010, our young men were very heterosexual young men, and I would do my BA social work, and we had finding a lot of young girls who were in relationships with our lads, lots of pre-birth assessments, finding myself in courts in Liverpool, Huddersfield, because Lifeshare works with the risky behaviour, not postcode. So I went back to Comic Relief, and I said, we need to go more generic. We need to work with any young person in any form of exploitation in its many ugly forms. Coming from a croupier background in the early 80s, I came up with the acronym CARDS, which is Crisis, Assessment, Referral, Diversity Service. Your cards on the table, how you deal them, how you dealt them.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good.
So cards now, has been rocking and rolling since 2012. Got a big caseload of young people. We now have a criminal justice element, because around about the same time, around about 2012, my little cherubs, no matter what you did, they wouldn't go to probation. So it used to end up being a revolving door. So they'd be out for 3 weeks, in for 6 weeks, out for 3. So we set up a meaningful use of time with the probation service. So meaningful use of time with Lifeshare is not asleep on a settee. You'll be actually doing a piece of work, whether that be, registering yourself on Home Finder, doing a workshop on drug use and offending behaviour. That would get signed off, sent to the probation service, and that was helping to keep that revolving door closed then. We also have a resident forensic psychologist, so that's another biggie in the city. Very, very proud of Sue Hope. She's also on our board as well. We have fast track to therapy, where it would normally take sort of 2 years. We have a resettlement project, so that works with young people for up to sort of 2 to 3 years. They've got the properties, teaching them life skills, how to pay bills, rent, how to buy your bookses to save your money, and different things like that. So yeah, we're a very, very busy service. We still do the weekend breakfast. That's now from Nexus Cafe at the Methodist Church. We lost our home at Danzig Street. The homeless charity became homeless. We went out to Trafford for a little while, but we're back in the city centre now. I'm just going to interrupt Judy for a second to talk about some of my bits. So I'm Abby, I'm the digital and marketing manager. And sort of part of my journey with Lifeshares started a lot more recently, but Judy was noticing, and Judy wouldn't say she's super tech savvy herself, but she noticed that the world was moving to this sort of digital stage, lots of resources, benefits, housing, these GP, you needed to have the internet to access these. So she started working on a way to bring that in, started developing the Manchester Digital Collective, or the MDC, which is powered by Lifeshare, and it's to help people access the life-changing benefits of the digital world. So from helping people with getting a physical device, to setting up, to accessing internet and connectivity and data. And then there's a skill building platform. So we've worked with some local groups. There's a GP, there's some CV writing advice. So we have courses on it to help you learn even from the very basics of turning on your device, getting access to an email address, signing up with the GP. And then we're building the platform to add additional courses so people can learn skills. And then each of these courses will have a digital champion. So say it was a course about CV writing. We have partners from our corporate partnerships that we have that will come in and say, okay, we'll go over your CV with you, walk you through it, or do an interview coaching, something like this. So people really feel supported on their journey through that.
That's brilliant, yeah.
I think that was a fantastic introduction.
Yeah, that was.
You jumped the gun, because one of the things I was going to ask is, first of all, happy birthday to Lifeshare.
Yeah,
I think 35 years, that's really quite spectacular. And I was going to ask about how things have changed over 35 years, but I think you've covered that
absolutely.
really, really well there. Going all the way from the beginning of outreach all the way to now with digital inclusion.
What an amazing journey. Yeah, what an amazing journey. One of the things that I wanted to ask, I mean, Judy, you said there that you've been around for almost 20 years, is it, at Lifeshare? So what are some of the success stories that really spring to mind, like the ones that really either touch your heart or was, a good story?
Well, again, some of the things that a success story is sort of within the organisation would be getting the male voice onto the prostitution forum, getting these services for that small pocket of young men, bringing the bigger short north, needle exchanges on the vans, various sort of training of other services that we do. On the clients, sort of, again, when we were MSWAT doing the outreach, was working with quite a few young men and girls who'd been trafficked or were victims of modern day slavery. But at that time, raising the voice of that in Manchester and keeping on raising that voice to the point then we helped establish the modern day slavery forum for the Northwest with GMP, bringing on all the voice of the council, working with the co-op to set up the Brighter Futures programme, which is a real job opportunity for somebody who's been a victim of modern day slavery, where they have a proper job within the co-op with a guarantee of an interview and a move on with the job. So that to be part of establishing the Brighter Futures programme is unbelievable. Also, being now these adopted gran, if you like, for various young children that have, the children of some of the boys and the girls. I'm called Big Mama, and I'm only 5'2", right? But yeah, and then some of these lads are 7 foot, and it's like, where's my Big Mama? And then, for them to have now got the rights to remain, pass the driving licenses, security bags. One of my lads is in his 3rd year at university on accountancy. My heart absolutely just explodes.
So it's just giving somebody an opportunity, really, isn't it? That is so crucial to be able to do.
Yeah, you know, and then to bump into somebody that maybe that you worked with 15 years ago or something, and you're suddenly shouting, Judy, 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 in the street, you can do that, and they're running towards you, and they're like, wow, I'm doing this now, and you know, that's all thanks to you because you believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself.
Amazing.
You know, so, yeah. I'm getting choked up now because I'm just thinking.
No,
it was running at me. I was like, oh yeah. So getting that back. I mean, and in a couple of my, you know, my lads, one of them does the battle of the band. You know, the spoken word.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So, but basically, when two people get up and slag each other's mothers, you know what I mean?
But you are preaching to the choir. I love spoken word battle rap. I'm a huge fan. So yeah.
So he's a battle rapper. He battle raps, and he's got a hoodie on the front is Deviant, which is his battle rap name, and on the back of it is Lifeshares logo, and he goes over everywhere battle rapping. And trust me, that him and his mate sent me Grey, Rocking in a Corner, and everything from like being about 16 and a half.
Amazing.
And, like, he did a talk for us at the International Arts and Thingy Day for homelessness at the museum. He's 28 now. He said, I go to work, I wear shoes, I wear a tie, you know, and what have you. But if you'd have met him when he was 17 and everything, that young man, I took Manchester City Council to High Court judicial review and won, because they tried to say that he was intentionally homeless due to his criminality and something that he'd done. I was able to then prove that he was actually exploited by a gang, and we won the thing. So those sort of things make me sort of,
That is incredible, isn't it? My goodness.
Oh, I'm sure it makes it all the heartache and all the tears and late nights all worthwhile.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Being dragged out of my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning because I was these responsible adults and going to some police station in some random, it makes it all absolutely worthwhile, So we do have some amazing successes. We have always used like the arts. So we've had 3 We Say exhibitions where our young people have exhibited their, their artwork. We've made short films. We were the first organisation to raise spice as going to be a public epidemic, and we needed to bang the drum. And as Lifeshare was the only organisation that had identified the client group, and I'd gone and done some training. Me and Julie Boyle, our team leader at that time, did the training for school nurses, CGL drug services. We got Vice Up from London, 2013, made Spice Boys in Manchester, and that raised the voice. We knew by criminalising spice, it wasn't going to take the problem away, but it would get it out of the sort of news agents. They were selling it out of the garages. We have ambulances every day at our service with kids going over on it because it was so easily available. We were very much in that on taking spice out of the shops. I mean, it's still an issue now within the city, but not to the scale that it was.
Right, that's good. At least it's on the decline. I was going to ask whether that was the case. The news don't report on it as much as at one time they did. So I wondered whether that was just because it'd fallen out of favour, or if it was on the decline.
Well, it's still prevalent, it's still there, and unfortunately, when it does get a grip of people, it's worse than heroin. Funnily enough, at the minute, the increase in overdose deaths for the past couple of weeks have been heroin, which is quite unusual, but we think that the heroin's being cut with something that that is not quite right. There's always different things, and then with COVID and the difficulty to perhaps get hold of the drugs and things like that, people are selling stuff that isn't actually what it says on the tin, if you like. So people are having bad experiences.
That's what makes support services so vital as well, that these people aren't capable of maybe supporting themselves and getting themselves out of those situations.
Well, and I mean, if you look sort of back over sort of the past maybe 80s, sort of 90s, your image of somebody rough sleeping might be some sort of, early 40s, alcohol's the drug of choice, they're drinking white lightning in a doorway, and they're giving somebody else, or drink this white lightning, it'll help you through the night. If you actually look on the streets of more or less any city now, the face of homelessness is youth, and the drug of choice, whether it was their choice or not, is spice. So what happens is, like, somebody who might be new to the streets, who really doesn't know, oh, smoke this, mate, this will help you go to sleep. But they don't realise where that addiction of that drug will kick in very quickly. Within a couple of days of using it, your body is screaming for it. It's very quickly addictive too.
I think one of the things as well, I remember at the time that they were reporting on it as being almost like a fake cannabis or an alternative to cannabis, and it was just so much more potent than that. So when people are getting it and thinking they might have similar effects, and then it's just nothing like it.
Absolutely nothing like it. And again, taking me back to when we were the M-Swap, one of my young men, and this is the goodly day when I thought, I am going to do something about this stuff. So he'd come into the office, and at that time there was quite a tough rhetoric on cannabis use. So there was a lot of police going around the city, stopping and searching people. So if you get caught with the cannabis on the first time, you get told off, it's confiscated. Second time, told off, confiscated. The third time you're caught with it, you're actually going to get done for it. So depending on what you've got on you or whatever it could be, you know, personal use or intent to supply or whatever. Yeah. So a few of the lads they felt like the police were victimising the male sex workers, and they were coming just picking on them because they knew they'd got this stuff. So this lad has decided to take himself to Dr. Herman's and he came in, and I've got this Pandora's box, and it's in this shiny packet with this picture of a spaceman on. He said it's legal, bought it in a shop. So in his little mind, it's legal, it must be safe, it must be fine. But with one of the things of the shop, they weren't allowed to give harm reduction advice. So they weren't allowed to tell the person buying it, you only actually need sort of a small sort of pinhead on, it's stronger, yeah, none of that advice. So he always started his nightly cruising at the back of Minchell Street courts. He'd build himself a joint, and then he'll cruise underneath the underpass to the other side. If he hadn't picked up a punter, he'd build another spliff at the other end of the canal and walk back. So he said, Judes, I'm stood at the back of Minchell Street, and I thought, oh, it's synthetic, it's bought for a shop, it's probably not that strong. So he laced it. The next thing he said he remembered, he woke up in Sackville Park, his trolleys were around his ankles, and he knew something very horrible had happened.
Yeah.
At some point. He had no recollection other than taking about 2 steps down that path. Yeah. And then he was in the park, and then from that day, unfortunately, you know, he ended up with not only a sexually transmitted disease, he also ended up HIV positive. And we believe it was from that evening. But I've sat on the Sex Workers Forum for many years, and the underpass down at the back of the Minchell Street Horse and the canal is where the cruising. So we wanted to have the area gated from a certain time in the evening, and lighting put down there. Anyway, I walked into the Sex Workers Forum about 2 years ago, and Sue Murphy, God rest her soul, she's passed now, head of the council, said to me, "You're going to be very happy today, Judy." I went, "Why is that, Sue?" She said, "It's only took you 10 years, but today I'm going to tell you, you've got your gates locked and you've got your lighting down there." And it took 10 years of me going on. 10 years later, I got those gates and lighting.
Brilliant.
So I'm like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness there are people like you out there fighting for people, fighting for the right things to happen.
Absolutely.
I always like to think that Lifeshare is the voice of the voiceless.
Absolutely. One of the things that we've noticed while we've been working with you and others is in Manchester especially, there's this community of charities that are seeming to work together. And I just want to sort of, it sounds obvious, but how important is that collaborative effort towards tackling homelessness in the city?
Well, it's very collaborative and it's very, very important. And also as well, most of those agencies have somebody that was either a placement student of mine, a volunteer of mine. So woe betide them if they won't work together. Coffee for Grey were 2 of my Sunday volunteers, bless Craig passed. So reach out in the community, again, was So all of the organisations, I think we've all grown up a bit, if you like, together, done training, and I'm a big believer in working together. So yeah, basically I've banged that drum for a very long time.
One thing I'm going to take away from this is Judith Vickers for Prime Minister, I think.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, really.
Oh, I know. Poor Andy Burnham's like, oh no, not Judy again.
Yeah, I'll bet he's quaking in his boots.
Oh, well, yes. Well, that was best when I made front page of the Mirror. Manchester charity worker, Lady chose Andy Burnham. She told me it was a little bit ironic. You've got Tim Heatley, property developer. He's the one who's trying to kick me out, Andy. But anyway, it's all good. Yeah.
Finally, I suppose the last one is, what can people provide for you at the moment?
Yeah, so our weekend breakfast project hands out a lot of socks and underwear. So boxers, joggers, leggings in small sizes are always in pretty high demand. Bottled water, especially now as we're coming into warmer weather, we'll be handing that out a lot. Chocolate bars are something that people don't expect, but we go through a lot of things that can be cooked without much cooking facilities. So like a pot noodle or a porridge pot. As well as right now, there's sort of been a dearth of like tinned food. We get more vegetables, but we're having less protein at the moment, which makes sense because it's more expensive. But if you do have the funding for that, we can definitely use it.
Perfect. That has been really fantastic. It's been really fantastic to talk to you both and hear everything that's been going on for 35 years. I think we'll be watching excitedly to see what you'll be doing next.
Yeah, I mean, what just sort of finally, what have you got coming up in the near future? Anything that you want to promote or let people know about?
We do any sort of push for people to donate their old devices to us. At the minute, we're after old smartphones, laptops, monitors, towers. So that would really is what we're doing. And at the minute, we're getting MDC volunteers. We're in partnership with the Big Yellow storage place. So the devices will be cleaned up and then factory settings and all that, and then sent out to people along with how to access and data and everything else. That's really exciting.
Brilliant.
On July the 18th, we're doing a big partner event, hopefully in Piccadilly Gardens, where we'll have some of our street vendor food people, we'll have hairdressers, we'll have CJL, we'll have urban medical centre, vaccine van, get a bit of music, perhaps street paws are coming down, doggy wellbeing, and we're going to do an event 2 to 4, and then redo that event on World Homeless Day on October the 10th, from 2 till 4, and that'll just be to celebrate all our partner working and to let people know what services are opening up and things like that. So that's quite exciting.
Brilliant. We shall make sure to link to everything that's been mentioned, either in a blog piece, below the podcast, wherever you're listening. There should be something where you can find the links for all of those.
Oh, yeah.
More information.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been lovely to chat to you both.